Well, hello, everybody. This is Joey Drex and my wonderful co-host, Rosalie Sheehan, with you for episode number 5. And this one's going to be a doozy, eh, Rosalie?
Yeah, definitely. Hello.
You know, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm amped up for this one, though, because this is huge. Recovering, rebuilding after a disaster sweeps through your life in any way, shape, or form is always a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
But let's just catch up a little bit. You know, we did our episode number 4 last week about healing and laughter. But before we get into that, because I know you wanted to finish off last week, kind of this week, because you felt you wanted to add something, and I'm all for it, and I think it's great. That's what it's about, the conversation of healing. But before we do that, I just thought we could have a little bit of fun just to break into it, kind of just drift into today's podcast that we're both very excited about. And, we're talking about your skin tone and tanning and, how the sun brings the freckles out in you. I thought I got a little dark in the summer, but I realize I don't. But I'm more of a bronzed guy. But it also brought up a funny memory for me.
Okay.
About the one and only time I went for a full body spray tan. It was 2011. I'm heading to Vegas. I need a tan. Back then I had short hair. I had the blonde highlights. It was spiky, I don't know. It was working then, right? I look back at those pictures today and I kind of chuckle at myself because I love my long hair and it's never going away. It's me. But anyways, back to the spray tan. So I go into the tanning salon the night before I'm flying to Vegas. And very nice lady. Very, very nice lady. Very, professional. I got to say, there's no joke about this. She was a total pro. But basically, she asked me if I'm comfortable to be naked, to stand on a stool naked. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just do it. Like, tan everything. Let's get it all evened out. So anyways, I go in, I derobe, I go up on the stool, and it's a significant stool. I'm like, wow, this is so not safe. Because then you're asked to close your eyes and you're up there and you got to open your arms and you feel like you're becoming a statue. You're being sprayed. But she came in, she was so cool, so kind, just professional. But I get sprayed. I got my tan. She tells me, don't shower, and put a sheet down on the bed when you go to bed that you don't care about too much. So, okay, cool. Get all that arranged. Wake up in the morning. We're flying out that morning to Vegas. And my sheets are brown, man, brown. But that happens. Yeah. I still got my full body tan, right? Like, oh, my God, it was so funny. Like, clearly you can tell I've been spray tanned. So we fly out. We get there. We have a great night. Wake up in the morning, go down to the pool. And in Vegas, you start the day at 9 a.m. or 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. with a 6-pack of Budweiser at the pool. That's what you do in Vegas. Yeah. That's your breakfast. So there we are. We're at the pool. We're drinking. And somehow the pool's always busy. And I decide I'm going to go for a swim. And I dove in. And this trail of brown just followed me out of the pool. Oh my God, my spray tan was gone. It left me with a light glow though.
What embarrassment.
Oh yeah, but you know what though? We had fun about it. We had fun with it. So yeah, no spray tans are not for this guy. Oh. But anyways, that's just a funny thing to start with. But listen, you wanted to talk about healing again. So I'm going to let you take over and get into it.
Yeah, it was just the conversation we had on the last podcast made me think, which I think is great because that's what it's about. And the whole that you asked a question, do you ever think we're healed or we're always healing? And I think there are new situations that can trigger old pain. So there are some situations that we go through after having moved on from other situations, but they can trigger the same kind of pain and insecurities and thoughts that we may have had before. But that doesn't mean we haven't healed from the old pain. It's like a reminder of what we've been through.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that happens throughout life. Everything is going to remind you of stuff. Like you just remembered a good story. You were triggered into remembering a good story. Or not so good, maybe, for the pool cleaners, but a nice, funny story. But there's always reminders. And I think new situations can trigger old pain. And then you kind of question yourself, don't you? You think, oh, have I got over this? Have I moved on? But you're just reminded of what you've been through. And I think, as you said, healing is a lifelong process. But it's the acceptance of needing to heal that is the goal.
Yeah.
Which helps the process along.
And I've thought about that, you know, the need to heal, but the want to heal, the desire to heal, right? And I think when you get to that point, when these things in life happen, and they create triggers, you're in full control of that emotion because it doesn't affect you in the same way anymore because you have chosen to heal from it. Yeah. Right. So, but those memories will always be there for sure. Yeah. The trigger points will always be there. It's learning to not master it, but learning to navigate through life as these triggers hit. Like I was saying the other night, life's fucking hard, man. Like this is, you know, you're in it. You're in the fucking machine. I've been talking a lot about that in our private talks about my view of the world has changed. The kindness aspect and all that hasn't, but just the way it all works, you know, and I don't know if it's just what I'm learning as I'm growing older, but healing's going to be just part of living. Yeah. You have to accept the fact that you're going to have to heal. You're going to have to get the fuck up and work hard to move on with your life. And the end result is new beginnings, new chapters. And then all of a sudden you're waking up one day, you're not feeling sad anymore. You're not feeling heavy anymore. And life goes on. Yeah. That's it, man. And then guess what? It's going to fucking happen again for whatever reason. Loss comes in great shapes and forms and sizes. Yeah. But loss is loss. So we're always navigating through healing.
Yeah. And it's also about recognizing the triggers rather than not learning enough to know that they're a trigger, and then you're just confused and you just don't know what's going on. But if you just take a moment to recognize the trigger, it's like, well, this is why I'm feeling this way. And now I can deal with that emotion.
Yeah, and sometimes the emotions and the memories and all that, I've told you, like sometimes during my days, I feel it coming. I feel the heaviness coming. And I've learned to jolt myself. Yeah. You know, literally, I'll jolt myself. My machine and I will turn a different way. We'll go up a different route. We'll just redirect. I recognize them, redirect. Press play on something, press fast forward, change this playlist, focus on all the things that you're grateful for, because the thoughts, I said to you the other night, like sometimes I just wish I could turn my fucking brain off, not just when I sleep, right? But at certain times where I'm like, click. Yeah. That would be amazing. It's not the reality. So you have to find ways to get to that
That's still
moment.
Point. Yeah.
Always working on it, man. We all are.
And I think a lot of people's suffering does come from the fact that they believe everything to be permanent. You've said so many times, I know this is going to pass. I know it's not forever. When you're feeling heavy, I know this is going to pass. And that's how to look at it. Nothing, even the good stuff. Yeah. You know, beautiful weather is never permanent because the seasons change. You know, heavy thoughts are not permanent. It's just getting to the end of them, working through them and coming out the other end. Yeah. And then looking back and going, God, I did it. I fucking did it. I healed myself a little bit more today, and I'll do the same tomorrow.
Those little successful steps, those little stepping stones really add up. You know, when I've gone through my changes in life, and we'll get into it in today's podcast, but you know, that decision to wake up every morning and get going, even if you feel like they are baby steps, what you don't realize is the pathway that you're paving for yourself. through your acceptance of change, the need to heal, the desire to heal from the pain that you're going through. It's a powerful thing. Like you call our brains the great supercomputer, and you're right, and they never shut off.
No.
We don't have the ability to hit snooze.
No.
I can just go snooze. I can't do that unless I literally snooze. But no, it's just part of life. Healing, change, always.
Yeah, but it's recognizing and doing something about the fact that change is always going to happen, always. But if you want to change a negative situation, you have to do it. You have to make the changes. You have to work at it. You have to do the work, as you always say.
And then what do you say too? In episode 2, we talked about you deciding to become an author.
Oh yeah.
And you just said, that was it. I did it. I became an author.
I wanted to write books, so I wrote books.
I know.
If I want to change the way my body looks, I'm going to do it in the gym. I'm going to do it. If I want to change the color of my hair, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
If you want to change something, you do it.
That's right.
And
it's not going to happen without the effort.
No, you have to. I mean, those are stupid examples, but they were the first things that came into my head. But,
fair enough.
But if you want to change something, you do it. You have to physically do it.
Yeah.
And it's down to the individual. It's down to everybody to make steps to change.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a great segue into today's topic. Rebuilding your life after disaster hits you. And it's a real when you're on the other side of it, on the positive side of it, and you look back. And for me, this particular journey, this particular rebuild was the most significant one of my life. You see so crystal clearly your defining moments where you chose to live, when you chose to stand up again, to rise up again, however you want to reference it. You really recognize your errors, your mistakes, your lessons lived and learned, and then you don't make them again. And that's it. Like Joe Rogan said that, and I've shared it on my TikTok. You're not that person anymore. Yeah, you made mistakes. Yeah, you wish you chose differently. But you're not that guy anymore. You're a guy who's learned. And that was something I needed to hear. Not from Joe Rogan, just those words that... Yeah. Because I am a guy that learned. Because I chose to stand up and say, okay, it's all gone. And I got to move forward. I got to get going in life, because the only other option was complete destitution, homelessness, gone. Everything's gone. So my disaster is something that we've chosen not to talk about yet on the podcast, because it's going to be in my book, in the book that we're writing together. And it's not that I'm not trying to do that to produce sales or marketing reasons. It's because before I get into it on this public platform, it's got to be in print, and then after the book's released, I'll talk openly all the time about my disaster, my greatest disaster. But what I can talk about today is my journey, what happened after the disaster swept through my life. One, I take full ownership of my choices that put me in that position. I've told you before, I pushed all the good people away when I should have gathered them closer. But can't go back and change that, right? But I've forgiven myself for that. I'm right with God with that. I'm a Christian man. I believe in that, and I am right with that. So for anybody who holds ill will towards it, that's on them. But I forgive them too, because I know the man that I am. But anyways, what I will share is after I had my lowest moment, after everything came crashing down, and after I tried to take my life, I literally stood up and I literally chose to live. And I'm like, okay, I don't know how it's going to work. I can't see beyond this moment, let alone planning for tomorrow. But I knew something had to give. And then a series of just blessings started to happen in my life. You know, it's as if the universe, God said, the greater power, whatever it is you believe in, said, okay, you're ready. You're ready to learn. You're ready to evolve. So let's get started.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have great friends, Rhonda and Marty, who said, you know, get out here and stay with us. And they knew I was hurting. They knew I was going through change. They always stood right beside me. And many people did. And I want to say this. I probably won't mention everybody's names. It's impossible. But you all know who you are. We've spoken. You know this. You've heard my words of gratitude and appreciation, love and kindness that I have for you, for never turning your back on me and never believing in the falseness of the reality of what happened to me. But anyways, so I was out there. I couldn't find work. I was like, what do I do? I speak for a living. I teach. I coach. I guide. I do all that for a living. That's what I know. It's what I built. So I interviewed. I tried, and there was nothing. And then through the power of youth sports, my daughter grew up playing hockey with a series of girls, and one of the moms reached out, and she's like, hey, listen, I know you're going through a rough time right now. Why don't you come and do some landscaping? And I said, okay, all right, send me the website and let me take a look. And what I saw was like beautiful landscapes. Wow. Green grass and well-maintained lawns. It was so beautiful. And then I saw what they built. Beautiful stone walls, walkways, pathways, pools, waterfalls, anything. Planting new trees. My immediate response was, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's how fucking low I was. You know, I can't do that. And she convinced me. She said, well, listen, why don't you give it a try? And if you don't like it, you don't like it. So I went for an interview, and I got the job. And I jumped into a world that I knew nothing about, but I knew I loved the beauty of it.
Yeah.
I thought, well, I like being outside, and I have to start somewhere. I know I can't do that anymore. I have to let go of what I built. I had to let go of it. And it was the hardest thing to do in the world. But what I realized through my journey is I never let go of it because it's me. Yeah. Right? We've talked about that. So I got into it. And, you know, in the beginning, to be honest, I had this mindset of this is just temporary. I'm just doing this for now. Maybe this summer I'll get back on my feet and I'll be back doing what I love to do and what I'm meant to do. Well, that summer came and went. The next summer came and went. The next summer came and went. The bottom line is I had an aha moment where one day all the hard work I was doing, you know, carrying stone, placing stone, wheelbarrows of gravel and concrete and sod and mulch and dirt, you name it, just constantly physically moving. I thought, okay, I'm starting to see and feel the benefits of that. I'm outdoors. I'm working around great young men that I'm learning from. I'm going to get into this. And if I'm going to do it, I want to learn from good people, which I did. My good friend Jason, my good friend Paul, Justin, Steven. Like, there's so many good guys that I've learned from in their own special skill set. And they're all great with me. And we're still friends. And that matters most. We don't work together anymore, but our time together is always special. But yeah, so I got into it and I decided, okay, listen, you know what? I can be myself. I started to realize that, wow, I can be myself. I'm still the kind every time guy. I like to help. I'm a team player. So I think I can build a career in this. Because I had this realization, I've got to let this go. So I had to realize what I had built was gone. It was like a breakup, It's like, no, it's still mine. But I had to let it go. But I never let it go because it was always me. So when I applied that to my work every day, I started to grow. And then I found my way through. Like, I look at some of the stuff that I helped be a part of, and it's wonderful. Like I love building pools with Paul. We had such great days, breakdancing at lunch, listening to old school beats, having our iced coffees and McDoubles, and we had great days. There was never a bad day. Even bad days were good days, right? When I worked with Jason, it was always fun because he's so attention to detail. He's the most skilled guy. Like, every line's got to be perfect. No crosses in the walkways. Like, you can't have a plus sign in the walkway. You can't. It's just the way his mind works, right? Wow. So I got to learn detail from him, and we had fun days. And so I had great days learning. So once I let go of the past and said it's gone, I'm just going to be me now and build a career in this, I elevated.
Yeah. And
now I'm proud of where I am, what's happening in my life. From a career standpoint, I'm evolving. I'm excited about the future in my landscaping career. Things are shaking and baking, man.
Yeah.
And I'm really pumped for it.
Did you go, like you said, you had an aha moment? Can't say it. How can I not
aha
say
moment. Yeah.
Did you sort of just go along from day to day working and it just happened, or was it literally a moment?
Well, listen, I remembered what I asked my father for. And Dad, half your work ethic on the day he died. And he nodded his head as if, I got you. Yeah. You got it. And a couple people that are close to me have mentioned that. And that I mentioned that in the podcast, and that they see it. And I feel it. So I knew, okay, I asked him for this work ethic. At that time, I didn't know that I was going to be beginning a career of building with stone and just creating these wonderful projects. But all of a sudden, I had that realization, okay, Dad, I asked you for half your work ethic. My father had a tree company, and he chose the hydro when things got to the point where he had to make a decision. So he sold his business, the tree company. So I always feel like he had something that he wanted to accomplish and he didn't. He made a decision for the betterment of the family. So I feel like, I'm in the business now. I'm in the industry now. I'm around this stuff every single day. I take care of people's properties and I love it. And, I feel like I'm doing something that my dad used to do. So I feel like it's just meant to be. Yeah. And if you're truly paying attention to the universe, where all the signs are showing, it's meant to be. I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing. And I'm still me, But back to the acceptance part, and then it was like, okay, I'm the new guy. Yeah. I'm the bottom guy. I was never treated like that, but I had to earn my respect. I had to earn my worth, and then, paydays, I'm telling you, man, I had to change. I had to change everything. I went from doing very well from my programs to, okay, I earned every single dollar of this with sweat equity, not with my mouth. Totally different mindset. Appreciating the dollar more. And then I had to be very strict with my finances. So I had to start creating very healthy habits. And I began that in 2016. And those habits carried over. And then you learn other healthy habits through your journey. And from people that come into your life. And I've learned great discipline with my finances from one of my exes. But it's still my choice to do it. It still was my choice to take what you learn and then apply it into your life. So I'm grateful for that. And it works. And I've tweaked it. I've made it my own. And I'm really proud of the discipline that I had to learn after I lost everything. I had to dig deep into, okay, I used to coach hockey. I used to play hockey. This was a coachable moment for my life. What would I tell myself, right? I tell myself, show up for practice every day, work hard on your skills, be a great teammate, and you're going to be okay. Just be you, be kind, help the others, and you'll naturally begin to lead.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what kind of happened. That's not egotistical. I recognize my skill set.
But you've had to do that this whole journey, and you will throughout your journey. You developed programs about anti-bullying. You developed programs about being strong from the inside out, and all the guidance that you would give to the students and children and young people you worked with. Now you had to give to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know what I would say to someone else. Oh, Christ, I've got to say that to myself. So,
Yeah.
and it almost, I don't know if this is how you felt, but it almost feels like when you start thinking about yourself and trying to help yourself, it's like, is this being selfish? Is this what the programs are for? But then you think, no, this is what I need to do. I need to become me again. And all the stuff I've told these kids who have carried that on throughout their lives, as you've told me and I've seen,
Yeah.
you have to apply that to yourself.
Yeah. And I had to kind of go over my programs in my head again, when it all came crashing down. What did I teach the students when it came to online hate, right?
Yeah.
What did I tell them to do? Okay, Joey, do it yourself. So I had to do it myself. I was in disbelief that it was happening,
Yeah.
but I had to do it myself. So yes, my programs essentially did help me through this. But ultimately, I had to realize that my life changed drastically. I've said stages to trenches. That's literally true. And the trenches isn't a bad thing.
No.
Oh my God, it's within the trenches where I grew the most. It's within those fucking trenches where I met some of the most greatest people that came into my life. That's the beauty of it all, right? What I realized was my character combined with hard work, discipline, and the willingness to learn, you can become a valuable asset. I had to change everything. I went from, I didn't have an employer for a very long time. I had my programs, and then all of a sudden I have bosses. But I'm telling you, I had no problem adapting because I respect not authority. I respect leadership.
Yeah.
I respect teaching. I respect guidance. I respect understanding. But I also respect common courtesy. So like attracts like. I worked with the right people always. And I'll always be grateful for these lessons because that hard work I dove into each and every day saved my life because nothing else was working. Nothing else was coming my way. It was the only option I had, construction. And I'm really happy that, my choices brought me that way, that I did decide to say, I'm going to do it. That first day was very hard for me. I went from walking into schools and engaging with students all day long, every day, Monday to Friday pretty much, to, hi, I'm Joey and I'm new here and, I'm the guy riding in the back seat. But I'll tell you, that first day, I had a sense of pride because I just knew I was doing it.
You've earned your money when you do that kind of work.
Well, yeah, it's not like you don't earn your money in other lines of work, but what you realize is that, you want something and you're like, okay, I know how many hours I had to put in to get this.
Yeah.
And if you, just think that way, you'll have an appreciation. You'll appreciate what you're buying because okay, all right, that's 8 hours worth of pay to buy that one item, let's say, right? You fucking know how hard physically you worked.
Yeah.
And mentally.
I also think it's quite fitting that you started your major rebuild in construction. You're basically working on the rebuild of your own life by building pools, by building things. You're seeing a tangible growth
Yeah.
in what you're doing for a job, which must reflect into the growth that you're feeling yourself.
And we would have those projects going, and the kids would get home from school, and they would sit in their windows and watch Paul and I build. And if we had other people on site, everybody involved, and they were so fascinated watching it. And, you know, I would just chat with them about their excitement about their pool. And then one day, all of a sudden, they're swimming, and they get to enjoy that pool for years to come. And that really mattered to me. I loved that part of everything, was delivering the finished product.
Yeah.
You know, I have lots of pictures of many of the landscapes that I was a part of. And, you know, listen, I was around people that did really, really amazing work. So I had great teachers, right? But the finishing touches that the skilled guys do are just, I'm telling you, top notch.
Yeah.
So it was great to be around, and just the excitement of families. And, yeah, there was an sense of accomplishment that you feel.
And that's important.
Totally.
That going out and doing something on your own.
Yeah.
You're with a crew.
Yeah.
But you're doing it yourself, and you get that achievement, that sense of pride.
Yeah, totally. So my rebuild, I guess you would call it still in progress, but it's nowhere near where it was back in 2016.
So is this like the finishing touches stage of the rebuild?
Yeah, like the defining moments.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, listen, I told you I've got that 10-year window that I plan to max out on, so that, you know, I don't know if I'd ever retire, but I could step back. But I want to be a part of something really special out there, because, you know, my dad did this for a living. My dad was wonderful with people, and I am my father's son, from head to toe, inside out, you know. And so I'm going to honor him. And the name of my hat, Drex, is going to mean something really, really great out there. So very excited about stuff that's happening, because listen, everything I do, that's my name, man. Yeah, I work for an employer, but it's my work. It's the work of my crew, myself. I put those finishing touches on. The other guys put finishing touches on their skills, and it's all got to be done right.
Yeah.
So once we leave that property, that means the name on this hat says it's okay.
Yeah.
Period. That's how it's got to be.
Yeah, and that's
because it's me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think even if you're in even if you work for a company where the name of the company is on the side of the truck, customers and clients don't go to the truck.
Right.
They go to you.
Yep. Yeah, I have many
Don't
clients.
they?
I talk to many clients, and hey, listen, I love the company that I'm with, and I'm having a great time. My days are filled with happiness, right? But what I just want to be clear, what I'm saying is, though, is that, you know, I'm coaching my crew leads to, you know, be proud of the work that you're putting on these people's properties. And at the end of the day, if there's an issue, I'm going to be calling you about it, not your crew members. So put your name on it, you know, put your stamp on it. That's
so you
something
are
to be
accountable for what you do in your work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important.
I think so. Put some pride into it.
Yeah.
And they do. I'm not saying any of our guys and women don't, but they're good young men, and they're coachable. They're also fellow leaders too. And so we got some good young men happening, and women, so we're proud.
And I think it's important for people to realize that a rebuild, any kind of rebuild, can't happen on old ruins. They can't you do really have to clear the way. And when you have that level of destruction and loss, that's the best time to start again. It's not, you know, you have a clear path. There's room for new stuff. You know, you already have the blueprint of everything you need, which is yourself.
Yeah.
You already have the tools that you need to rebuild, which is what you've learned up until that moment. So you just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And you have to get up. You've always said, work gives you purpose, and it does. Otherwise, what else is there?
Yeah.
It's just wallowing in whatever sorrow that you feel. And you've said it earlier, you redirect the machine, you change your playlist. If you redirect your thoughts, if you rechannel, focus on what can I do now, instead of, oh, I can't do this. Then you can move forward and
Yeah.
rebuild.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a challenge,
Right.
but you got to want to do it. And I knew I wanted to do it. You
Yeah.
know, when I got past my moment of wanting to not be here anymore that morning, when that didn't happen, that was huge. That was fucking huge, because I didn't want to be gone. I knew that then, so thank God it failed, right?
Yeah.
But some people don't get that chance. So
Yeah.
I've lived with the attitude of gratitude. You know, I'm not perfect. I have my dark days, but generally I've got the attitude of gratitude. I'm so grateful for everything. I'm so grateful to open my fridge and see healthy food in it. I'm so grateful for the water I drink. So grateful for you know, the roof over my head, the bed I sleep in. I am so grateful for everything. And most importantly, I'm so grateful that I didn't give up on myself and that I chose
Wow.
me.
Yeah.
Because even though I have my beautiful children, my family, my grandkids, you know, my grandson and I, there's like this special connection, and it's lovely. Outside of all that, even, I still had to choose me.
Absolutely.
And then, you know, what I hope to leave my children with is that their father ran right at fucking change, ran right at hard times, and got through it, and always found a way with kindness
Yeah.
and courtesy, and just being a part of something better in this world.
Yeah, and creating something better for this world. And you are a problem solver, a solutions provider.
Yeah, very important. I had to change that shit up back when I was selling freight. I'm like, don't ever put sales manager or sales guy or anything on my business cards. And they said, well, what do you want on them? And I said, I'm a solutions provider. And they were like, oh my God, that's genius. And then everybody got new cards saying solutions provider.
Wow.
Nobody wants a salesman's card.
No.
Listen, sales is a tough fucking world, man. But I did okay with it because I just focused on that, solutions.
I think you could sell ice to Eskimos, though, let's be fair.
No.
And actually, that reminds me of a very funny story that you
Please.
shared with me less than an hour ago with regards to your voice and the beautiful velvet honey tones that you can use to read stories.
Yeah.
Tell us what happened, Joey.
Where is it?
Okay, I think you threw it somewhere.
So, yeah, well, listen, part of this podcast, I've had, you know, a couple people say, have you thought about bedtime story reading? And at first I kind of like thought it was a joke, and then I did some digging, and it's a real thing. Some people need it for sleep and all that stuff. So I just thought, well, I got a mic, I got a little studio, let's read something. So I decided to go with something solid. So I chose from the Mr. Men books, well, Mr. Happy. So it turned out to be a great read. I felt like I delivered it well. I threw some of my favorite characters into it with my tone, and, you know, just created a story, added some stuff, a couple things maybe I misread, but all in all, it was pretty good. And it was 8 minutes, 40 seconds long. I thought, okay, that's cool, you know, and I felt like the quality was good. And then, well, I realized my mic wasn't on. And that's when the Mr. Happy book got thrown up in the air.
That was Mr. Grumpy.
Yeah, but ultimately I did feel bad about it right away because I'm like, oh no, I can't throw him. Sorry,
Vintage,
Mr. Happy. Yeah. So anyways, thanks. That was cool.
You're welcome.
That's cool. Let's share all that with the world. But yeah, so anyways, apparently this bedtime story stuff is a thing for people that can't fall asleep.
Yeah, and you do have the voice for it.
Well,
You do have a soothing voice. It's like melted chocolate.
Stop. Speaking of which, like, this is not like if we were going to have a commercial break here,
Yeah.
I just want to give a little shout out to Coffee Crisp. I love them. Coffee Crisp during a good cup of coffee is very fitting. And shout out to them, that's all. But if this was an ad, I'd say something like, you don't need to dip the crisp into the cup of coffee. I don't know. I can't do it. I'm put on the spot. Whatever. I'm not even going to edit that. Sometimes I'm not delivering right away, but it'll come to me. But no, Coffee Crisp, shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome, especially with a good cup of coffee. And I do not dip it, though. I sip it, and then I crisp it. Crunch. It delivers. Don't dip the chocolate bar into the coffee because you don't want crumbs in your coffee.
No.
No, you want the crumbs in the coffee in your mouth.
So you can self-combine.
Yeah, if you're going to do that, you might as well crumble it up right into the coffee.
Yeah, that's wrong. If we're doing shout-outs then...
Do one.
Cliff Bars, yep, thank you.
Cliff Bars, but not the ones with oatmeal in them.
No, because that's... I can't eat.
Right.
I have no amylase in my body, which is a nice chemical thing that everyone else has and I don't. But there we go.
Well, protein for you through the Cliff Bars. But no, so listen, so what about you? Disasters.
Several.
Yeah?
Several disasters, yeah.
You want to share one?
Yeah, I'll share some. We talk like for rebuilding, absolutely.
Yeah. Something that impacted you.
Yeah, when I was 15 years old, I was... I had to leave the family home for...
At 15, yeah.
15, yeah. So there was a church in the town where I grew up. I spent some time there. No one knew at school. I was still going to school. Got my GCSEs. High school diploma, I think it's called here. I'm not sure. But anyway, when you're 15, 16, that thing you do.
Yeah.
I had to rebuild. I had to find somewhere to live. I was... essentially homeless, in pretty dire straits with situation in the family home. We touched upon that in the last episode.
Yeah, like going home for you was not an option.
Not an option. It wasn't safe. It wasn't pleasant.
So you're actually safer
homeless.
in the church.
Yeah.
Homeless.
There was a bench outside. It was summer. I like churches. I like stained glass. They had a font. Man. I apologise for brushing my teeth in a font.
Of course you would.
But holy water through the system. It's amazing. Probably remnants of pigeon as well, but never mind. You do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But that was a kind of the first rebuild, I suppose, of like becoming an adult really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And I was in a band at the time, and it was almost fitting to be like homeless. It was, it's a terrible situation to be in, and the circumstances behind it were difficult. But I was in a band, so it was like, I'm going to sleep on some couches, and then someone had a room in a shared house, and the whole band moved into the shared house, and I had a room with a sink in it. And
sounds like the perfect little lifestyle.
It was like, this
what
isn't
you were going through.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I'm okay. I've got
You had people around you that were obviously watching out for you.
So there was Adrian and Rob and Pete, and they were the drummer. They were the guitarist, the bass player, the drummer, and John was the keyboard player. And these guys were like family.
Right on.
And it was like this little protective circle of this little kid who was going through shit that they didn't know about, but they knew it was shit. So what do? We protect our own.
Yeah.
And I don't want anybody to think that there was no help from family members. It just wasn't as forthcoming as it could have been. Like I have a sibling, he was going through difficult things as well. So these things happen. So he had to look after himself. He had to deal with his own stuff himself. But so the rebuild was basically, I was 15, so I there was no conscious decision of like, I need to do this. I just like.
No, you're
I
just
went
waking
to
up and doing your thing.
And then sang in a band, and we ended up in a shared house. There was an abundance of pasta for some reason, because that was the cheapest thing you could buy, pasta and ketchup.
Yeah.
all the time, and actually it was really cool. So I do thank some trauma for putting me on
That's right.
certain paths, and I got to start the journey of doing what I love, which is singing, and the writing and being away from danger. I was in a lot of danger at home. And then I moved to Manchester when I was 18, almost 19. And there were rebuilds involved in that as well. There were literal rebuilds, actual tangible ones. There was a bomb exploded in the shopping centre where I had my job. I told you about this the other night. We were in the middle of a bomb, an explosion. So they rebuilt this, the Arndale Centre it's called. They rebuilt that, but they built it better and more beautiful and safer and flashy. And, the mannequins were different colours and stuff. It was just amazing. But, yeah, there's been rebuilds in my life. And I don't think I'm as in tune as you with my rebuilds. I kind of just do them. And I don't realise it's happening until afterwards. And that's when I look back and I think, Christ, I've been through a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a good thing. Or maybe being a bit oblivious to it is almost a protective thing that I have.
No, I don't. Listen, everybody rebuilds differently.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality of the world that we live in. We're whether you're with somebody or as a team or whatever, you're still your own person, and your rebuild is your own rebuild. Listen, you were thrust outdoors at the age of 15 over horrific circumstances that you've shared with me. But the way you see the world, the way that you navigate is very inspiring. And I think as this evolves, I think a lot of people out there who have gone through anything similarly to what you'll share whenever you're ready is that there is hope and there is abundance of joy, peace, and love in the world. And it just takes the commitment to get up every day and keep going and make good choices. Surround yourself with good people. And you've done that, though. You that's what I was saying the other night. Like, you could have gone the other way, but you knew between right and wrong. Like you had good people around you for the most part, with a couple of unfortunate circumstances, but the people in the band. Yeah. The people that you've worked with over the years. You've had good people around you.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there are always side effects of being abused, and that is there's a massive trust issue. Yeah. And I did a similar to you, where I didn't so much push people away, I didn't allow people in. And I had this lifestyle that was very insular. There was the band, and then there was the woods. It's like there were barriers, huge barriers, and I felt safe in the band. I felt safe with those. They're my friend. I'm still friends with 3 of them. One of them isn't around anymore, but it was like I have, and I still have side effects. But I mean, there's, like you say, I've surrounded myself with good people who I work with. I want to talk about Hayley back in Ireland. She recognised me immediately. Recognised something in me, and she's there's this strength, but there's also this fragility, and it's fucking such a fine line. But yeah, it's I didn't surround myself with negative people. It was either nobody or good people, and there's been a huge stretch of time in my life where there's been nobody, because that was safe. When I say nobody, I'm not talking about the dog that I had. I had dogs and cats, but it was like there's either nobody, because I know I can't trust. I'm not ready to trust anybody. Manchester, I went from that horrific abuse in the family home to an abusive relationship where I was being beaten to a pulp, and it was like, this must be what I deserve. This must be what is normal, because I've just come from it. and now it's happening in an adult relationship, almost adult relationship.
Yeah,
you
but
know,
you
in
knew
your
it
20s.
wasn't normal.
But you know it's not right. So
Yeah.
and then I was like, well, it's either the nice house that I've managed to get and all the stuff in it that I've managed to get. It's either this or my life. So
Yeah.
I choose my life. So I'm going to leave all this stuff that's irrelevant, and it will be out of fashion in 5 years anyway. Fuck it, I'm going to go.
That's the beauty of rebuilding sometimes.
Yeah.
The ability to say fuck it.
Yeah.
When you get to the point where you can say fuck it and
Yeah.
really mean it, that's powerful, man.
It's the most powerful feeling. It's like
Less is more.
Yeah.
In my world, less is more.
And I
you
literally had that empowered moment where I stood up to. I've stood up to every abuser in my life now, up to this point.
Yeah.
And this one was the relationship. And I literally stood up and I said, if you want me to stay in this house, you will have to kill me, because that's the only way I will remain in this house.
Come closer to the mic, please.
Okay, should I say again? I literally said, if you want me to stay, you'll have to kill me. You've gone out of your way to...
Sorry, I'm not laughing, but you're drifting back. You got to stay moving forward. Because I want people to hear that again.
So I said to him, if you want me to stay in this house, you'll have to kill me. He had done everything over the course of our relationship to put me in the hospital, to break my face, to break bones.
Jesus, man.
I lost blood. I lost days, you know. And so I thought, well, the next step is you have to kill me. That way I'll stay. And that was that moment where the look on his face was just, what the fuck? And I thought, see ya, bye. I've got a Tesco's carrier bag full of the stuff I can carry. I'm out the door. And
your ability to rebuild, I know your stories, and your ability to say fuck it and move forward when you have your moments of that's it. Powerful, man. Powerful. The more we share, I think the more care will be put out there into this world. You know, I mean, we could talk for the next 3 hours here about stories, right? But I don't want to ask the viewers to listen too very long. So I thought we have a few minutes left. We've talked about some fun stuff. We got into it, rebuilding after disaster. We could go on and on and on.
And I think we will. We'll carry this on another time.
For sure.
We?
But I'd like to end it on a lighter note.
Do.
You know, and you're a Marvel fan.
Oh, God, so much.
Right. And I've gotten into the Marvel world now a little bit more. My grandson's into it too. But ironically, he's kind of not right now, right? But anyways, that's okay. But I also grew up a DC fan. I know, and we've had the argument: who would win in a fight in an ultimate showdown, Thor versus Superman? And now, I don't know if it's for nostalgic reasons, but I think Superman would be superior. I love Thor too, though, but I think Superman in the end would be superior.
No.
I don't know.
I think the majority of people would say Superman, but that's because they don't know all the facts. And
I don't know. He's a Man of Steel. He's faster than light.
Lightning can go through
He
steel.
can literally carry the world on his shoulders.
And he does. You know, he has issues, of course, but...
I'm not disrespecting Thor. Listen, I'm a Thor guy. He's my favorite character in Marvel. But I think in an ultimate showdown, that Man of Steel is just going to reign supreme.
No, I don't. I think he would get tired very quickly. And don't forget, Thor has some of the best one-liners in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Plus, Superman's allergic or something to kryptonite and lead.
I know you had the idea of like a kryptonite hammer.
Yeah.
But I think Superman's not affected by kryptonite anymore the way he used to be.
Has he built up immunity to his
He must
allergies?
have. He's taking vitamin C, man.
Well, maybe the lead thing then. He can't see through lead, so...
But listen, what if Superman is the only... I think Superman could pick up Thor's hammer.
No, I disagree. I think, number one, I think Superman would actually be a little bit too afraid of being disrespectful.
Yeah, because he is kind.
He's actually very kind. He has good manners and stuff.
He is. Where Thor's kind of like cheeky.
Yeah, Thor's got, a bit of swagger.
Clark Kent's like proper.
Proper. Glasses, tweed suit, nice tie.
It's a good point.
But also...
in other words, he wouldn't even try to pick up
He wouldn't
Thor's
try.
hammer. Yeah, you're right.
And that would be like that would be a sign of weakness. You've got no conviction. You've got no dedication to this battle. So yeah, you're out.
So we're going to put it out to you guys. We want to know if you get to this point in the podcast, who would win in an ultimate standoff, Superman or Thor? You guys can send the messages. You can comment on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. This video, we promise, will go on YouTube. I accidentally deleted last week's. I was so disappointed. So I'm not touching it. Rosalie's going to do the final editing. So it's all on you.
Okay.
It's all on you. But anyways, folks, listen, thanks so much for stopping by with us and sharing a good cup of coffee together, because that's what it's all about. And another shout out to a friend of yours that today sent us a social media post that, you know, he's with his wife for the first time in a little while, and they're only together for a little bit, and then they'll be apart again for a little bit, and they shared their morning cup of coffee with us, saying that, you know, what did he say? He said, sometimes it's who you're with.
Yeah, it's who you're with is important, makes the coffee greater. So
right.
That's for Matt and Monica.
Matt and Monica. So thank you, Matt and Monica. That really, you know, glowed our hearts, because
really
that's what
did.
this is all about. So if you guys want to do that, create a post, tag us in it. We're going to share them. We're going to appreciate them. Let us know what you're drinking and what conversation you're involved with, if you want, you know.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be coffee.
Yeah, it can be anything.
It can be wine.
Anything. Whatever your good cuppa is.
Yeah,
and
grapes.
it can be a wine glass.
Grapes are just fruity beans.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But listen, thank you so much for pressing play and spending some time with Rosalie and I. Thank you to McCabe's Coffee out of Wicklow, Ireland. Thank you to Coffee Crisp.
Coffee Crisp. Why was I
and Cliff Bars.
And Cliff Bars.
That we just mentioned for free.
For
That's
free.
okay. No,
Yeah.
because they're worth it. Coffee Crisp is my favorite, and you love your Cliff Bars.
I do.
But listen, folks, thanks for listening to episode 5, and we'd love to hear from you. Follow us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's under Joey Drex on TikTok, but it's the Good Cup of Coffee platform. And YouTube, we are there, and I see the subscribers growing. Thank you. I think we're at 27 now.
Woo!
Man, I'll tell you, that's
We're
exciting,
rebuilding.
though, man. Listen, I'm grateful for one, man.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, so we're just going to keep going. And but until next time, folks, please take care of yourself, take care of each other, be kind to each other, but most importantly, be gentle on yourself, and always enjoy that Java. Thank you, folks. What do you think?
I thought it was good.
I thought it was good too. Now, let me go to